Are you an agency or creator that are looking to dominate social media to promote your OnlyFans page? Look, I get it, it's hard. And when we started right through to today, it has been the hardest thing about this whole industry because it is what makes you different. Everybody else does everything else, but what separates you is whether or not you can bring traffic. So today, we're gonna teach you a little bit about how. My name is Liam Turnbull, CEO here at TDM, and in the last 5 years, we've grown over 100 creators to the top 0.1%. So let's get into a full marketing guide. Quick reminder for those of you that don't know, we actually have a TDM Business free Telegram community linked in the description, which is essentially an opportunity to take the information from today, but actually apply it to your agency in a one-to-one conversation on Telegram. So hit the link in the description, join the community, and we'll see you in there. We are going to quick fire through every single platform here in one video, and we're going to start with Instagram. With Instagram, you've got two options. You either create accounts, which takes a little bit more time, but is free, or you buy accounts, which is instant, but costs quite a lot. Now, if you are going to purchase accounts, we need to make sure that they are legitimate accounts and do not have botted followers. So avoid things like Z2U or Accounts Market to make sure they're legit. We also want to strive to see at least 40 to 50% US audience. Find vendors that have good reviews and will actually let you review the data. This is the most important thing. You can expect to spend anywhere from a couple hundred to a couple thousand bucks for a good account. Now, ideally, you would opt for an in-house phone farm to avoid the complexity of handling offshore devices or offshore persons. For this, you want to use iPhone 13 or newer. This is typically because the newer phones have newer software and are therefore perceived to be harder to manipulate or jailbreak. One of the main reasons for this is that it improves our trust score, which is essentially a score of authenticity derived from where the device is, the data on the device, the IP address, and the device itself. Now, typically, we've always used TP links, which are essentially just mini routers that connect via a 5G SIM. If you find that these are a little slow, then you could look at one phone to one SIM. In any case, though, we've found that there should be a maximum of 3 devices per router. If you are outside of a tier 1 country, then a VPN is near essential. But if you're within tier 1, then really it's optional and not important at all. But the most important thing here is that Instagram will ultimately judge you based on what you're doing and what's going on the account. So who you're engaging with and who's engaging with you matters just as much, if not more, than any of the things we just covered. So the best thing that you can do when you get onto a new account is to start engaging with US accounts, pick out celebrities, actors, athletes, and just start engaging. And if you do opt to do a little bit of paid promo initially as well to boost up to those first few thousand followers, again, ensure you're targeting the US with that. In any case, though, just remember that 3 accounts per device is typically the upper threshold. But once you've got a few thousand followers on these accounts, you can consider starting to post. When you post, we recommend 2 posts per day, separated at least by a number of hours. Now, these posts can be either photos or reels. That's totally up to you. But in any case, as always, content is number 1. So making sure that above all else, the content performs is your primary focus here. Making sure the creator is well branded, making sure that you're on the right platform in the first place, which with Instagram is often the case anyway. And then considering how to hook people, engage people, and how to push both watch time and retention. Not one or the other, but both. Now, next, we're going to take a look at Threads, which is, of course, a relatively new platform, and therefore the barrier to entry is super low. It's essentially Instagram's answer to X. So it's a little bit like what Twitter used to be, only it's today. Where you can, with Threads, use the Instagram account that already has some traction. It will just mean that you have a smoother start, and it's a more seamless process to growing the page because you've got that kickstart of all the followers that have immediately come over from the main Instagram. Generally, don't use schedulers. It's absolutely okay to use them because the new platform is still encouraging you to post on it and it will still reward you to an extent. So your content absolutely can still perform with schedulers. But anecdotally, we found that content manually posted will perform better. And this has occurred across lots of accounts across a serious period of time now, to where we genuinely have conviction that manual posting is worth it, providing that you've of course got the manpower and the hardware to do so. In any any case, 5 to 8 posts per day when you first start makes sense, and you can taper this off with time to 3 to 5 posts a day per account if you like to. Think of comment posting as your fillers for when you haven't necessarily got a grand slam post ready to go, and then think of your carousels as the goats. These are the posts that will most likely perform, so as many of that 3 to 5 or 5 to 8 posts per day should be carousel as possible. Now remember, because it's very much the same as what Twitter used to be, content being shareable and controversial is key with threads. It's ultimately trial and error, but once you find something that's shareable, controversial, and works, stick to it. We literally have cases where we've just consistently posted the very same thing consistently all day, every day on the same account, and it continues to work. And when you find something that's good, really stick to it with threads. You can also try comment baiting, and we recommend that you do, but what's most important here is that it's within your niche, looks human, this is the most important one, and relates back to the original post to make sure that it avoids going into the spam folder. The maximum number of times you should comment bait per day, we think, is 30. And providing you've got the manpower and the hardware to do so, we actually think you can run up to 20 accounts per creator every single day. Next, we're going to take a look at TikTok. Now, it's by far and away not the platform that it used to be. Its best days have absolutely gone. Rewind to sort of 2022, and we had creators doing 50K a month, literally just doing some dancing TikToks. It was our meta. It was how we generated the vast majority of our traffic. Nowadays, the platform is much stricter. It's much more censored. And frankly, if you're going to still do TikTok, then losing accounts is just an expected part of the process, but it is still totally worth it, especially if you can use the feature of going live. We find that this is still incredibly effective for creators, and actually nailing the whole live to naughty live on OnlyFans process is still something that's incredibly effective with some creators to this day. All you're going to need is a US or a UK SIM card. You can literally order them from Amazon, and they don't even need activating. A VPN and a proxy here really is just unnecessary. Of course, you can sign up with a phone number or an email. We believe that an email is preferred, specifically an aged Gmail account, and will still take 3 to 4 days to truly warm the page up, where essentially just viewing videos, engaging with certain posts, etc. Now remember, it's very likely that your first post on TikTok is going to perform well, and quite possible that the subsequent couple of videos after that will still perform well. But what you should keep an eye out for in the early stages of a TikTok account, if you've got multiple subsequent consecutive videos that each are under 100 views, then you can pretty much consider that account dead, and it's time to just pack up and move on and start again. Now with TikTok, 3 posts per day per account is about right. But be wary that TikTok is very good at detecting duplicate content, so we want to make sure we've got enough original, authentic, organic content to do so. The best case here, in fact, the second best case here, is for a creator to just provide you with the raw content, and then you chop it up and create the videos, unique videos yourself. The best case is that they're running the pages and filming the content in app, because we find, again, anecdotally, that filming content in app on TikTok does really help the algorithm. Next, we're going to take a look at Twitter, or X. Our first option with Twitter is to take advantage of just simple, basic, organic posting. 2 to 5 posts per day is ideal, but remember, this platform absolutely loves shareability, so make the content controversial and make it easy for someone to share it. Another way to drive traffic using X is to manually retweet with other creators in your niche. So the best way to do this is compile a list of creators in your niche in some sort of spreadsheet or database, and then just systematically work your way through them, contacting the creators and essentially asking them if they're open for retweet. If they say yes, then take advantage of it. If they say no or don't reply to you, then take them off the database and continue. The next option is retweet groups, which are an incredible way of growing your account, but not necessarily an amazing way of building the OnlyFans page up. It's essentially a case of join a retweet group if you can, or get invited to it or whatever. And once you're in, you might find that there are a couple of creators, for example, that have recently sent a GIF or whatever the rules are for that group. group, you will follow the rules, which in many cases are retweet the last 3 posts or the pinned post of the creators that have recently sent that, be it the last 3, for example. And then once you've done that, you can actually come back into the group and send a GIF yourself, which will then mean that everybody will do that to you. As I say, this is a great way to grow your Twitter page, which is an important thing. And so it does have a use case, but it's often vanity without sanity here. You aren't going to bring much traffic in. The conversion is relatively low. Now, the other thing about X is that you also have the chance to do some paid promo. It's much, much cheaper than Instagram, and there are lots of pages that offer it. It's essentially a chance to go more viral with the current content that you have. However, it's going to cost you anywhere from 50 to a few $100 per post, and it doesn't necessarily guarantee you the virality, because it still comes back to how shareable is your content. And if your content isn't very shareable, then paid promo isn't going to help you, and it's just going to be money down the drain. Now, one final thing that you can do with X is DMs. You can either use bots to do this at scale, or you could hire a VA and do this process manually yourself with your team. It's essentially a chance to garner a little bit more traffic, or simply just improve your conversion rate, but you will potentially harm the account here. You could look at losing the account. We think that if you're going to do this, you must do with caution. But for us, we find that the risk outweighs the reward here, and so it's not something that we choose to do. Next, we're going to have a look at Reddit. Now, Reddit has always been a staple and reliable traffic source for us here at TDM. It's of course designed and suited to creators that are well niched, and so for us, it's perfect because all of our creators are niched. It is, however, a very technical platform, and you're going to need a non-detect browser. So you could use GoLogin, you could use Dolphin Anti, you could use Ads Power, and therefore you're going to also need a proxy as well. We recommend a 4G or 5G proxy, and ideally in the location where the creator is posting. It just reduces the risk. Again, similar to other platforms, we've got the choice. We can either purchase an account or we can create an account. The difficulty with creating an account on Reddit is that most subreddits that you will want to post in require a aged account with a minimum karma, which is essentially just the likes and upvotes that your page has got. And so, especially if you want to act fast, purchasing an account is preferred. Now, you want to be selecting subreddits that suit the niche of your creator. So when you head onto the search, just type in keywords to do with your creator and the way that they're branded, and you'll find in the community section a big list of subreddits. Now, don't think that the bigger the subreddit, the more traffic you're going to get, because that's not necessarily the case. It could be inactive, it could be controlled by moderators that are either against your type of content or they're other agency owners. This is often the case. You're looking for a subreddit that has a minimum of 10K, but more importantly is clearly active. You can check this on the hot page. The most important thing here though with these subreddits is that the content that you post within the subreddit relates back to what it actually is as a subreddit. You can essentially think that more is better with Reddit posting, but ideally a minimum of 5 times a day. The most important thing is that you're not posting the same content in subreddits on the same day. This is just going to inevitably lead to you being kicked out. So create some sort of rota or schedule that allows you to essentially rotate between subreddits and make sure that different content is going into different subreddits on different days. And whatever you do, don't manipulate upvotes, because authenticity wins with Reddit. Next, we're going to take a look at long form content, so YouTube and streaming and things like that. The short answer is, if you can, do it, because it's an incredible way to garner much more higher quality traffic than any short form will allow you if you have the time frame. It allows you to build an audience that will invest into you in a way like no other platform will. Whether they're watching your stream or watching your vlogs and participating in your day-to-day life, it's a relationship that they can build with you that just can't be done in the same way with any other platform. This does not mean wet versus dry, try on hauls on YouTube, because this kind of thing just doesn't have that effect. You need to get the personality across. Now, of course, depends on the branding and what kind of creator you are. So, for example, if you're a gym girl, then streaming isn't necessarily the right answer. Instead, we'd take to the gym to vlog or document a dieting series or whatever it might be. Whereas if you're a gamer, of course, you're going to opt more towards streaming, but then you might clip it up onto YouTube as shorts, right? Regardless, it's going to take time, but you've got to recognize that the leverage here is the long term. You'll have a bigger audience of higher quality traffic, and more importantly than all of that, the creator has a leverage that no other creator does, which is that if for whatever reason they wanted to stop OnlyFans or they wanted to sell something different or subsequent to their subscription, they absolutely can, because people love them and will buy whatever they sell. Next, we'll take a look at dating apps, which in 2022 and 2023 were of course the absolute goat of OFM marketing. The reality in 2025 is that the juice just isn't worth the squeeze, because you've got an environment where customers are less likely to be interested because they've seen it before, less trusting because they've probably had a bad experience. There are more creators on the platform doing the same thing as you, saturating your very strategy. And also the platform just simply doesn't want to tolerate it anymore, so they've become stricter. So what that translates to is essentially we are paying more for a customer that is less likely to convert, on the basis that if they do convert, we'll spend less money to get to the end of the month and have 0% compounding on our strategy, right? It just doesn't seem to compare in 2025 to any alternative. Whereas, for example, if we compare it directly with Instagram, where we've got a greater reach at less cost with somebody who will likely trust the platform and the people on it more, and ultimately therefore probably spend more on the platform as well, all to get to the end of the month with Instagram and have a bigger account than when we started, which is worth more to us and will compoundingly help us grow at a faster rate in the future. Every which variable is favored against dating apps in 2025, and although it's totally possible and there are still people who succeed, in my view, the juice is not worth the squeeze, and it's better to park it and focus elsewhere. Next, we'll take a look at paid promotion. Now, paid promotion absolutely has a use case. It's defo worth it. It 100% will help you grow. Caveat to it is that it's oftentimes expensive and can quickly lead to no profit at all if not carefully done. Now, in my view, it's something that should be used as an end game play, right? It's something that you would have a pop at with funds that you've already profited from your core marketing strategies. Paid promo is not the core strategy. It's a top-up mechanism to boost the revenue with funds that you already have injected from other platforms. Options here are Instagram, where we can essentially boost our account and posts early on, which is, in our view, a useful tool when kickstarting an account. The utility beyond that diminishes with time. You can look at babe pages, meme pages, creator shout outs, and different ways of actually garnering Instagram promo long term. My view here is that it's expensive, oftentimes not worth it, and it's really important that if you're going to consider it, then get the analytics and do your best to make sure that it's the best possible offer. In any case, trial and error, see how you get on. Other options would be X, which in all cases, it's probably cheaper. We find that X promotion is much, much cheaper than Instagram is for some reason. You can take a look at what big creators are doing here. You can go and check out a creator like Sophie Rain, for example, and you can have a look on her follows. You can see who she follows and potentially find pages that can offer services there. Or you can even click on her replies and have a look at who's already promoting her to see who she chooses to use. You can bet that she's probably done some due diligence and picked out some of the good vendors. But again, in any case, trial and error and see what you think. No matter what you do, remember that vendors don't care about your return on investment. They will take your money irrespective of whether they think that it will perform well or not. And so it's your duty to remember that the content that's more shareable, content that's more controversial, and generally just better quality content will perform better with paid media than anything else. The other noteworthy paid promotion tool would be CPC sites. So typically this has been things like Creator Traffic, OnlyFinder, etc. Now, they got massively wiped out with the Google slap, but are somewhat recovering now with the blog style rather than the directory style of CPC options. The most important thing here is that they are tailored to A, niched creators, and B, directly relate to your natural conversion of that creator. So just keep this in mind when having a pop, but like anything else here, try it, see what you think. Now, off the back of that, we'll have a look at SEO. You've got two main options here with SEO. Firstly, you can build your own site and try and garner your own organic SEO here. The difficulty with this is that it's going to take a lot of time, likely cost you quite a lot of money. You're going to have to build the site, maintain the site 24 hours. You're going to need technical SEO skills or to pay somebody that does. So in this case, I'd probably recommend going for other people that have already built that system out. You can essentially just adopt a place on their site and use their platform to promote your article and grow that way. The other option and preferred option is to reach out to blog owners and try and guest post on their platform. Think of it as their traffic, their platform, your article. In my view, this is a much better way of doing it. It's probably more cost effective. The reach is going to be higher. It wins on all accounts. The other little pro tip with SEO is to just think about it when you're writing bios, right? From social bios to OnlyFans bios. Just thinking about keyword dense topics that you can throw into your bio that will help with SEO does actually translate to SEO traffic landing at the page. We've seen small changes like #1 goth creator on OnlyFans in the OnlyFans bio actually go and bring us quite a bit of traffic from Google. So SEO can be beneficial without needing to get too complicated. And finally, we're going to take a look at Fetlife. Now, bear in mind that Fetlife will most likely need your creator to complete verifications. She will or he will most likely need to have nude content. And more importantly, all of you guys will need to recognize that Fetlife has a lead time. Expect to wait 6 months before you're really seeing any traction with Fetlife. It's typical to think that Fetlife requires you to be a fetish creator, but this is not the case. However, it's important that you do have a niche because that's where the platform is favored to. Like anything, complete your market research and reverse engineer those that you aspire to be like. So have a look at big creators in your niche and think about the way that their accounts have been set up, the way they post their content, the way they operate on the platform, and start to mimic that. You can expect to need 5,000 to 10,000 followers before even thinking about putting in the OnlyFans link. You can promote OnlyFans providing that you've got subtle CTAs, but as I say, it's essential that you've got 5,000 to 10,000 followers on the platform before you even think about doing that, because you're going to risk a commercial strike. One of the things that we do on Fetlife is follow unfollow, but you've got to understand that the volume here is capped, so you should absolutely use this in moderation. Post in groups that relate to your niche. 2 posts a day is fine, 3 posts a day is the max, with at least a few hours in between each post. Videos do perform better than photos here, and really important to remember to engage with everybody who comments on your content as well. Going back to when to actually start promoting the OnlyFans, I do encourage that if you can wait, then do wait till 20, maybe even 30,000 followers, because suddenly those commercial strikes that come with promoting the OnlyFans just don't seem to have any sort of significance. We also suggest that you close the DMs so that people naturally track over towards the OnlyFans profile itself. But if you want to keep the DMs open, then I encourage that you at least man them to funnel people directly to OnlyFans itself. But with Fetlife, look, it's not going to be your main traffic source. It's absolutely not a platform that's going to grow you to $1 million a month, but it sure as hell can bring an additional 20 to 50 subscribers per day, paid subs that is, if done well. Now, we went through a lot there and there was a lot to take in, and I think it's really, really hard to take all that information in and apply it to all of your creators across all of the platforms agency-wide. But the reality is it is possible because there are people like us that are actively doing it. And there's no SOP. Everybody had to learn manually here. This industry is saturating very, very quickly. So it's important that you act today to make sure that you've got enough leverage to sign creators and add the value that all of your competitors can't. So what we wanted to do, for those of you that have stuck around to the end of the video and those of you that follow and support TDM, we've actually got an SOP call linked in the description where essentially you get the chance to not just take the information on how to map out a plan for the platform, but how to do it based on your hardware, location, creators and the niche that they're in, and actually apply it to your agency today. Now, this call is super, super cheap as well, so it's something that we're doing specifically for you guys, and we hope that you find value in it.